Hello, I'd like to welcome everyone to another Bleed race. So we're doing the 2019 SABR Tournament, which is the Summer Annual BleedRunning Tournament. This is for 2019. I do apologize, my dogs are eating in the background, so if you hear that, well, a little extra real life there for you. My name is Synn. I am a runner. I will be commentating the race between Noobii and Tenterment. Let me just take a quick look here. So our schedule today is Ultifen and Fire Splitter, and Fire, let me see here, that race is already over, Eviona and myself, and that race is over, just so I'd avoid spoilers. I'm not going to say who won those, just in case if you still want to watch them. We're going to be doing Noobii and Tenterment right now, followed by Vander against Hopsiddle. Alright, I think both of our racers are ready. They should be moused over... hard, so they should be set. We'll be starting here in just a moment. I want to make sure that they're all good. They should be able to hear me now. We will be listening to the sound of Noobii's game. I will be deafening him, so he doesn't have to do that. So he can just focus on playing the game. And I think we're all ready to start. Alright, unless there are any other delays, I think we should be good. So let me double check here. Alright. Let me make sure I'm set too. Make sure my timer works, because Jackets will yell at me otherwise. Perfect. It works great. Alright, we'll go ahead and start in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, make sure I turn this off too. Perfect. Alright, so our racers have begun. Let me go ahead and get my sound on too, so I can hear something that's going to happen. Alright, so both racers getting through, they're now past the staircase. Okay, should be all set. Fighting Roly Poly Oly. So Noobii has currently the world record for this category. Noobii with some really quick tactics that you can see when he's fighting just really small, quick jumps rather than like a full dash unless he needs to. It just kind of shows the precision that he knows the game in. Both players destroying that boss pretty quick, no real issues there. Thank you, Vander. Yeah, I realized I forgot to mute like literally as I started. It's my bad. Might pull up my cheat sheet here. Alright, so there's going to be a lot of different stages, 7 stages, and the game's more of a boss rush. So basically we'll be seeing both the runners just fight a bunch of bosses back to back to back. As the final boss for the first stage, which is the Mirror Core. Noobii getting a nice deflect there. Anytime that you see the enemy turn purple, it allows you to be able to deflect that attack. That saves a lot of time and adds some extra damage. So anytime that you see them able to deflect, oh my gosh, Noobii getting a double deflect. Tenterment getting his first deflect here. Noobii knocking out his boss, Tenterment not too far behind. So we do have to use the in-game timer, not just the screen, because the timer for the players. Because you'll notice Noobii, while he's a little bit farther ahead, his timer is a couple seconds ahead. So, even though they look like they might be a little bit farther apart, they're actually a lot closer than that. Okay. How? Noobii getting a really good chopper there. So Tenterment only half a boss behind right now. During line of watch Noobii. So you'll notice that Noobii has some really good pathing. He kind of has the entire map memorized. And he knows that you only have 3 dashes. So when you hit the ground, it resets your dashes, but you have to do it in a very specific way. If you don't do that properly, then you just lose your dash. So he needs to know exactly where he can land in 2 to 3 dashes, so he can get that reset without losing any time. Of course I'm still using a cheat sheet jackets. You know how many bosses there are on this game? Oh, Noobii going for the full round the world here. Tenterment just starting up his Valentine. Noobii only has one attack in, so that's pretty good. Both racers are pretty close still. Noobii knocking out his Valentine fight. Tenterment, about halfway through. He has 2 cycles left. Hopefully he doesn't make any mistakes. Noobii almost accidentally restarting his level, which would have set him behind quite a bit. That'd be about a 2.5 minute loss. Very scary to see. You'll notice that can happen at the end of the stages. You need to press escape. Just to skip the cutscene, but if you do it a little bit too early and your mouse is in the wrong spot, you'll immediately click to restart your level. I don't think we've ever had that happen during a race, but it's something that we'd have to talk to Jackets about, but I'm pretty sure if you do accidentally restart your level, you're going to have to restart the level just because you didn't technically beat the level. Something you really don't want to happen during a run. Alright, both players starting up to the next stage. So Noobii doing really good here, only taking 1 hit. Tenterment's going to be starting his boss in just a moment. Tenterment looks like he's going to get through this boss without taking a single hit as well. Very nice. Noobii does have 1 hit on him, but he's going to be starting up his ninja fight, so he's a little bit farther ahead. So he's opting just to go for the quick damage. Ooh, doesn't miss a deflect there. So does lose a little bit of time, but not too much. Noobii going for katana. It's a risky strike, so you can take some extra damage, but as long as he doesn't die, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, some yeehaws in the chat. I apologize for missing that. Tenterment going for a standing on the right side strategy here. So during the ninja, he dashes towards you. If you stay in the center, if you stay in the center, you'll get best timing on both sides. Where you're sitting on one side, then it's quicker to get a deflect on the right side, but not the left side. So you're kind of hoping for a little bit of RNG there, kind of save like a little bit of a second off of it. Noobii will be starting up Rocket Man here. So this fight's pretty interesting. The boss creates the platforms you have to fight on. So it really depends on like where he lets you stand. So far he's doing really well. A couple of deflects. Ooh, very nice. Completely off the screen when he gets the kill. Yes, Shanine, I'd be more than happy to explain the different colors of the balls. Purple balls may be deflected, as same with anything with the bosses. Anything that's purple may be deflected, but the orange ones cannot be deflected. You want to deflect so you don't take damage, and you want to deflect for bonus damage. Tenterment gets some really good pathing here. Standing directly on Rocket Man's rocket that's currently in. That way he can stand directly next to the boss and get some hits in. Did take quite a few hits, but he's opting to go for the extra damage strategy. Oh my gosh, really nice there. Sitting on the purple and deflecting it to move out of the way. Really nice by Tenterment there. Noobii going through our main auto-scroller. Taking damage here is a pretty significant time loss just because it slows down your screen. Once the screen's slowed down, it doesn't really come back very fast, so it's just a complete time waste. This is one of the places that taking damage really does set you back. Damage anywhere else just makes it so you stop firing for a moment, which is just a portion of a second loss, where here taking any damage is a good time loss, a couple seconds. Tenterment here getting some really good pathing, making sure you can hit that boss at all times. Opting for katana to kind of break through the barriers, make it a little bit easier to attack him. Oh, does get a good deflect there and gets him out really quick. You can see he deflected, but rather than waiting to see the damage come through, he deflected and then just started dashing immediately. Noobii will be saving his Robo-Guppy. Not too bad of a fight for him. So Tenterment going through the auto-scroller now really has to hope that he doesn't get hit. That does take some time off. He's being very risky though, going like just hugging the right side. So he's gonna be really careful not to accidentally run into a bullet. Noobii currently fighting the little worms here. I would say the name, but I don't want to get yelled at again. Noobii now setting up his Robo Wipe. Bill and Phil. Got a little Bill and Phil here. A little lag on Noobii's screen there. We can just assume that's him cheating. I respect that. Trying to make a good deflect, knocking out the boss. Definitely not. We should give him mustaches. We're now fighting Bunbot here. Official name. Noobii opting to go directly in and is attacking. Getting that deflect right next to her. Wow. Quick kill from Noobii. So by deflecting right next to the boss, it allows him not only to get the deflect for the bonus damage, but the slash itself from the deflect also goes on the boss. Noobii now going into the warship. Does take a couple of hits here. This is definitely one of those stages that are a lot harder to fight to win, just because there's a lot of chances to get hit. Alright, let's see how Noobii does. Oh, opting to get some slash in there with his katana. Really good opening. Lots of good damage. Ooh, does take a couple hits, but he's going for the deflex. Doesn't really care. Opting to take some extra damage just to get some extra damage in there. Just trying to get as much as he can in. Ooh, does take some extra hits there. A little bit unnecessary, but He's really trying to focus on just getting as much damage as he can on the boss, not really caring about his. A run is typically, depends on average, you're talking anywhere between 27 to 30 minutes for an average runner. But if you're talking about a speed runner, you're looking at anywhere between 23 and 26 minutes. 23, 27. The current world record for this is 23:16. This commentatro sucks. The commentators. Savage. Thank you, Vander. Got my back. Respect that. Jackets, thank you. That's my girlfriend. She's being mean. Thanks, Jackets. Someone cares. So Tenterment gonna be going to fingers here. So you really want to try to get a good split. So that's a really good one there. It allows him to get a lot of damage. The best split you can get is where he gets off one of the second to bottom finger. That way you can get your shots in, and then he'll take more time just trying to attack. Noobii getting kind of low here. He could possibly die if he's not too careful. So the next part coming up is kind of tricky. It's a lot of RNG based stuff. If you try to go too quick, you're kind of put in positions that you really can't dodge, and that makes it so you're gonna lose a little bit of health. Since he's so low, he's really got to be careful. He's opting to go for katanas rather than go for any kind of bullets. That way, if he does get too close to one of the balls, then he'll hit that instead without having to wait for it to deflect and come back to him. So he's getting kind of close. He's about 1, 2 health left. Luckily, this boss isn't too scary. Tenterment still on phase 1 over there, but he's doing pretty good. Just got to try to get as much damage as he can in. You can deflect those bombs into the eye, which does a little bit extra damage. But the time it takes to do that, it's usually optimal just to kind of go around it and then just shoot the ball like normal. Noobii going for some strats here. We're just going to slash the Pac-Man, which is the best one you could possibly get. Good deflect. So he's opting to stay next to the boss and slash it, which gives a little bit extra damage. It is kind of risky, and especially since he's so low, but he's willing to take that chance. And he gets another Pac-Man, which is, like I said, the best one you can get. Noobii getting some serious RNG here. So Tenterment is fighting a boss that you have to knock out its shield. To do that, you have to use rockets, or the pods explosions. And since we can't use rockets, you have to use its own pods. Unfortunately, really low, so he just has to hit it to get the deflect to kill it. Tenterment gonna go try to get to the final boss here. Noobii moving on to his Valentine fight. Noobii starting up his Valentine fight. There are 2 really big things he needs to do here. One is a death skip, so he needs to kill himself in order to skip a small little cutscene. And he also needs to do a lock on Valentine towards the final fight. And during that time, if he does make a mistake, he has to go through an entire phase, which can take about 10-15 seconds. It's a pretty big loss. Tenterment not giving really too much luck on there, and he dies literally at the beginning, but it's okay. Unfortunately, a death does lose a couple seconds there, but not too much since he just started. He was not getting the luck that Noobii was getting. You really want to see as many Pac-Mans or Saws as possible. Shark isn't too bad, it's good damage. You do not want to see this. The Make It Rain is just a huge waste of time. You can get some damage in, but not a whole lot. Pac-Man, this is the one we definitely want to see. With a good deflect, we should be good. And no deflect. Tenterment just really not getting any luck here. A Saw, he should be able to kill it as long as he gets good timing. Good. He almost didn't get that the last bit of damage in there, so he might have had to do another phase. But luckily, the bullet sponges didn't stop him from getting there. Noobii, you can see he does take a little bit of damage here, but he wants to take a little bit of damage in order to get the death skip. So here you'll see he's setting up for it. So right here, he kills himself, which skips this entire little cutscene. Now the next thing he has to do is get a taunt here to stun Valentine. She's pretty high up, so it's going to be a little bit different timing. So we'll see how he does here. Looks like a good time. Does get it. I get one more stun in, and that should be it right there. Perfect. Even goes for the slash. Noobii can be moving into the final stage. Tenterment starting up his Valentine. Got the first phase is down about half health. Noobii will now be starting his Mantis fight. Tenterment is about half health. He's going to have to start hurting himself a little bit here soon so he can get the death skip. Most runners opt to do it when there's no time that you can damage the boss. Because while you're going for the death skip, if you take damage, it's nice, but at the same time, you don't get that damage on the boss during that time. As you take damage, you're not able to shoot. So it's optimal just to wait until the boss is dead like this, and then go for death skip. It looks like he might not be opting for. Okay, he is. He is going to opt for it. He's going for the left side. Nope. Oh. Okay, he wants to save a little bit extra health here just to be safe. So not opting for death skip. Did take a little bit of damage. Alright, let's see if he can get the lock down here. Ooh, does not fire for a little bit there. Okay, does get the lock, needs one more lock. And he gets it. Awesome. Time moving on to the final stage. Noobii already knocking out 3 of his bosses. He has 3 left. Ooh, 4 deflects. Only gets 1 deflect off. Does not get a deflect there. A little extra bullet sponges now in the map. Goes and gets another deflect in. Opting to go for some extra damage there by slashing. Perfect. We'll be moving on to Crawling Core now. Noobii now going to his final stage here. Once he beats the rival, his time will end. It looks like his timer stopped though, so we don't know exactly when, what time it is for him. It's a bit unfortunate. They were about 5 seconds apart, so we should know by this. As long as he doesn't die here, he should be okay. He should be able to get the win. Tenterment not too far behind. He just beats one of the bosses, but he has 2 left before he's at the rival. Noobii getting a good ping pong there. Does get a katana, but opting just to slash him. Not really caring to take all the extra damage. But he can die. Oh, very close. 1 health remaining. And that is time. If my time would stop. Alright, it does not stop. Very good. $23.55-ish. Thank you. I'll have to check my settings and see why it does not stop. And while we do that, we'll watch Tenterment. He's now going to his crawling core, not too far behind. Actually going for a really good time. Okay, Tenterment not opting to finish the run. Okay. We'll take a small intermission, and then we'll be back for another race. Okay, I think our runners are ready. We will go ahead and be starting in just a couple moments. So Noobii comes out with the first win. I'll turn off our loading screen here. Alright, racers, we will be beginning in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, now it should be good. Make sure I deafened him so we don't have to hear any feedback. Maybe a little bit behind here. Just a tad. So Noobii going up the staircase, doing pretty well with that. He doesn't fully one cycle it, but his method might be a little bit faster, being able to land a little bit early. Tenterment flying through that boss. Noobii just behind. Noobii did start a little bit earlier, so he's technically like 2 or 3 seconds ahead. So if you see that they're the same spot, it means Noobie's a couple seconds behind. Noobii getting some good damage in here. Getting some good deflects. Tenterment trying to get some deflects as well. We'll see if he gets any. Does get a deflect there. Noobii opting to get some extra slashes in. Tenterment has taken a little bit of damage, but nothing too crazy. Noobii going for a ton of deflects there from the boss flying over him. Both runners killing the boss pretty quickly. Alright, little wait here while we get to the mirror core. Alright, both runners getting some good RNG here. You want as many deflects as possible, preferably close to the boss so you can get some extra slash and deflect damage at the same time. Noobii hasn't taken any damage this run. Ooh, Noobii does get a deflect, but because he slashes the boss, when the deflect happens, it does not get the deflect damage and does not deflect the boss at all. So he does lose a little bit of time there. Tenterment just ahead. Alright, now, one of the things that you'll see different between the runners is how they platform these sections. So platforming is a pretty big portion. Now, the boss fights themselves, yes, you can save a lot of time. A lot of it that can be the RNG base of like, okay, does the boss use this ability? Does the boss use that ability? So it can save you a little bit of time on each boss. The biggest thing, though, is when you're doing the platforming, you can save a little, like a second here, a second there. So by doing that, you can really reduce the overall time of your of the section between the bosses. A lot of people believe like if you're trying to do the boss itself and get it faster, that's nice, but it may save you maybe 5-10 seconds on a boss by using a couple of different techniques that we have. But it's really that platforming in between the sections that really matters. You know, getting hit slows you down. It makes it so you have less health. That means you have a higher chance to die on a boss. Noobii getting a good deflect there, so let's see if Tenterment gets one. You want to have the whale core here shoot out a purple missile from the center. If it does not shoot a purple missile, then you don't get any deflect. Tenterment right there freaking getting a really good dodge. Ooh, not able to get it. Doesn't get that rocket just before, unable to get the deflect. Did get the luck, so the RNG was there for him. Unfortunately, though, the RNG was not there when it came down to being able to get to it. Both runners now going to be heading into their Valentine fight. So Valentine is going to be our main nemesis here. A little bit of weight, nothing too crazy. Just got to kind of get to the part where you can burst that bubble. Tenterment getting kind of low in health. Does have to watch out for that. Going for a really risky strat there. He almost took some damage. Normally this isn't a boss you can really die on too much unless you really kind of make a mistake. So it was kind of risky for him to try to even go for that slash instead of just being a little bit safer. But he's trying to get that time. So by using your katana, he's able to go directly into the fight and destroy those bits, which starts the phase, which ends the phase a little bit faster. So right there, ooh, really good switch. He just misses them, switches and shoots from behind. Noobii going to his last phase here, where Tenterment has one more. Ooh, purple cars. Oh, you hate to see that happen. Tenterment does miss one of the purple cars, meaning he has to do an extra phase now. Especially with his low life, he really doesn't want to take any damage because he could possibly die, and restarting this fight is a huge time loss. Down to 1 health, he should have it here, so he should be okay, but very risky. Alright, Noobii now heading into the chase, Tenterment just behind him. So still a very, very close race. We're going to need to get some yeehaws in here. Because we know what time it's going to be. Alright. Good deflect on Noobii. So Noobii going directly up to the boss to get the deflect. He does. You'll notice he does that a lot. He opts to go in for any kind of deflect. He wants to be right next to the boss. Also to get his slash damage and the deflect damage all in one go, rather than just opting to get one or the other. This is very little time saves that can really help out in the run. Tenterment now fighting his red spray and blue jets. Thank you, Eviona, for the only yeehaw we got. I appreciate that. You'll be shredding through here. Gonna be starting his ninja. I was like, Tenterment just taking some free damage. Alright, Noobii going for a side. Unfortunately, it's unlucky on all of them. While it's unlucky, it also is kind of lucky because that means there's more bullet shots, which means less dashes. It's kind of a hit and miss. He does go for the katana slash here, which is optimal damage. You do risk getting hit once in a while, but with how much health he has, it's not that big of a risk. Really good kill there for Noobii. Tenterment going to want to start his phase 1 of ninja. Good dodges for Tenterment, really good deflex. Nothing's been missed, really good. So now he'll be starting phase 2. He will be opting for katana, a little bit of damage. Ooh, gets the unlucky version there, so if he can get some good stuff here. That was not too bad. He is taking a little bit of damage here though, so he's going to have to be a little bit more careful. There's only one more boss through here, but that boss can really make or break it if you just have too much damage and you die. This fight coming up does take a little bit longer, so you definitely don't want to die on it. Noobii only having 1 hit on him. He's going to be going to set up his Rocket Man, which is Rex Rocket. Does not get the deflex. Not a huge time loss, but definitely something that I know he'd be pretty upset about, not knowing that he didn't get that deflect in. Tenterment not even opting to kill any of these things. It doesn't really make a huge difference on how many how many bullets are on the screen. The biggest thing is that if you kill the ones on top, at least when you jump, you won't get hit by those. Noobii knocking out Rocket Man, so he'll be moving on to the next stage. The next boss will be fighting as the Chaff Spammer. Noobii has not accidentally done a restart level, so that's very good. He almost did in the last run, which would have set him back quite a bit of time. Tenterment now knocking out his Rocket Man with 1 health remaining. That was very close. If he would have fallen and died there, he would have to read that entire fight, which would have cost him at least a minute. Noobii going for both deflects. And that precision jumping right there. Putting like no pills on the screen at all. Beautiful run. So that's the little things I was talking about, where during the boss it doesn't save a huge amount of time, but when it comes down to it, every second, every 10 seconds like that counts and adds up slowly over time. So by getting those little things will really help out in the end. And it looks beautiful. Tenterment, so he's going in. He needs to go ahead and just keep as many of these pills off the screen to make sure he can get as much damage as he can. So by doing that, he's going to jump and switch to katana, which also does damage to the boss, but also deletes a lot of those pills from the screen, which is very helpful. You want to end this fight on the right side of the screen as much as you can on the right side. That's where you have to leave to the next area. So he's really trying, but because there's so many pills, it takes a little bit of extra time for him to get through it. Noobii will be starting up his robo battles here. So this is Robo Guppy. Does get a deflect. Wow, huge deflected from Noobii. Only took a couple slashes. Does knock out Robo Guppy. Still hasn't taken any damage. Tenterment going in for his next match. Hopefully he can do pretty well here. Noobii fighting Gibby and Stu. Get some really good deflects. Slashing and getting some slash damage and deflect damage there when the worms are jumping through. Now these might actually awesome move the caterpillars. We just assume the worms. Unfortunately, it doesn't finish in that cycle, so he has to wait for them to come through again. Tenterment fighting his Robo Guppy. Does get a good deflect there. Unfortunately, it does take a little bit of damage, losing a little bit of time. Noobii opting to go for a little round the world here. Does not get that deflect, but it's okay because you can still get quite a lot of damage off there. Beautiful kill by Noobii. Tenterment beginning his Robo Gibby and Stu. Noobii fighting the last boss of this level, which is Robo Bunny. Let's see if they can get any good RNG. Tenterment, really all he wants to do is just kind of get through these fights as soon as possible. Best way to do that right here, you want to have it so the orange, oh never mind, doesn't matter, kill them anyway. You want the orange one not to be last. You want the purple one to be last so you can get the full deflect. You'll be knocking out Robo Bunny. Tenterment not too far behind. Does get the deflect here. Deflect can both be good and bad. It really depends on how much damage you can get out of both. I'm not sure if it's really been calculated yet of which one's better. Bunbot has been destroyed. Tenterment knocking out the Robo White. All that's left now is Bunbot. Noobii's gonna have Warship. And he gets through the elevator part there without taking any damage. It's probably one of the worst parts in the game where you can just be falling down and get really bad RNG and just take a couple free hits. I've been taking some damage on Robo Bunny. He's got to be a little bit careful. Down to 2 hits here, doesn't want to die. Knocking out Robo Bunny, will now be moving on to the Warship. Noobii trying to get as much damage as he can on the segment slider. Tenterment beginning up his Warship now. Let's see how he does. Like I said, this part right here can be really tricky. It's known as the elevator. It's just basically when you're going down, there's a really good chance, like right here, you take some damage, so that's not great. And then just really unlucky there. Not really anything you can really control. Sometimes you just get really bad RNG. Noobii flying through takes a little bit of damage. He does have 2 bosses left to fight. Well, technically 3, because the Nemesis Core he's fighting now has 2 parts. Tenterment fighting segment slider does get a retract, which isn't too terrible. It does get a deflect, and another deflect takes one hit, not too bad. As long as he gets some good fingers, really good dash in between. Something that can be a lot trickier, especially for newer players, is getting those really tight jumps through. Perfect jumping in. Slows time a little bit just to kind of ensure he gets the jump there. Not getting really lucky because you really want that right there, but unfortunately it's going to be another retract, so he's trying to get slow time to get as much damage as he can in. He didn't want to have to wait for another full phase. Noobii going in, gets some slashes, slowing down time, getting as much damage as possible before he regenerates his shield. Really lucky again for Noobii there. You want that RNG where you get the purple right up front. You can get an orange and then a purple, but it's just wasted time since you can't do anything against the purple and the orange. Another really good deflex, really good kill. Noobii finishing up Nemesis Core Part 2. Tenterment not too far behind, actually just starting up his Nemesis Core Part 1. Really good deflex for Tenterment, really trying to get the optimal amount of damage as possible. He does have the bombs currently in place, does hit one, which is really nice. Kind of low, so we'll see if he opts to kill himself to kind of get back some of that health, or if he's going to opt just to take the fight like normal. He's going to take the fight like normal, so it's pretty risky because what happens here, the fight, when you do this, you can die and then reset this entire fight, which is really long because you have to break that shield every time. And then if you don't die here and you leave with like 1 or 2 health, the next section is really tricky, and it's one of the fastest ways to die just because of how they have the layout of the room. So it's really risky to not reset here if you are low health, but he's just trying to save some time, so cannot blame him. Really well done. Didn't take any damage on that fight. Noobii getting a Pac-Man here, which is the best one, and getting a deflect, flying through Anti-Battalion. Tenterment not too far behind, has the platforming section, then fighting Anti-Battalion. Noobii will be moving on to his Valentine fight. Ooh, Tenterment does take some damage there. Down to 1 health, really can't make a mistake now, or he has to reduce the entire section, which is really long. I think he's going to probably take it really slow just to be safe. Unfortunately, because of that, it's going to take a lot of time. Does get through. We'll see if he takes a death here against Anti-Battalion just to reset his health. Looks like he will not go for an intentional death. He's going to try to fight it. Ooh, dies right at the first phase, which isn't too big of a time loss. If he would have waited halfway through the fight or pretty far through it, then died, he would have lost all that time. Where there, he only lost just basically the first phase. Noobii already knocking out Valentine phase 1. Noobii getting some really good damage in here. Hasn't taken any himself, so he has to set up for his death skip relatively soon. Tenterment knocking out Anti-Battalion. You'll notice his health is still full, meaning if he didn't take that 1 damage which killed him at the beginning, he potentially could have beat that entire thing without taking that damage and getting through without any time loss. But unless he did take that 1 hit that did knock him out. Noobii getting some really good hit there. Really good deflex as well. That's one strat I noticed that Noobii just loves doing. He likes sitting kind of off the map a little bit and then opting just to get some really quick attacks. Now we're going to be setting up for his death skip. Tenterment getting into the Valentine fight right now. We'll see if Noobii can get both the death skip and get the... Oh, let's see if that's good enough. He did get the death skip, so he's probably set up. He was opting to get a quick taunt. The locker down quicker. Did not land it, but we'll see if he can get the lockdown here. Ooh, that was pretty late. Let's see. Still gets it. Very good. He has 1 left, and that one should be good. So Noobii knocking out Valentine, be moving on to the final stage. Tenterment knocking out phase 1 of Valentine. Only has a couple phases left. Alright, Noobii did not reset his level. It's a very strong move. Alright, now we'll see if Tenterment can get his death skip and he can get his Valentine lock. He also Valentine taunted and he just took the damage, which isn't a bad strategy, just because then you can take that free damage. You don't really lose any time on it. Maybe getting a deflect on Mantis there. His goal is, he's opting to go jump and get the deflect even on the side bullets as well. Tenterment opting just to kind of go and take some extra damage. He does get another portal, which is like the worst one because you can't get a lot of damage on her while she's doing this, and gets an orange deflect from her, which means he can't even kill her from that. He can't even do a knockback. Noobii now on the whale core. A lot of good deflects from Noobii. Tenterment not going for death skip, so very risky. And then he dies, so he has to redo that. Unfortunately, it's not. Fortunately, it's not a huge time loss, just because the amount of time that he loses there is probably 10 seconds. But the big thing he has to do is get this lock. Not getting this lock will add an extra 10 seconds for each lock he misses. Does get the first one, and he should get the second one. Awesome. So his Valentine fight will now be over, while Noobii is starting up his last couple bosses. Hopefully Tenterment doesn't die here and restart the fight. Something you don't want to see. Level clear for Tenterment. Now we're going to be moving into the final stage. Noobii going to be fighting his prawn core in just a moment. Let's see how these go. Crawling core is probably one of the hardest bosses when you first start the game. Very tricky. You're trying to deal with all of these platforms, and they break when they're shot. And if you're like walking into them as you're shooting, it also breaks them. Noobii doing really well there. Probably gonna take some damage here, and does knock out crawling core. We're moving on to the final rival fight. Trash locked. Double deflect there for Tenterment. Noobii getting unlucky, getting a. He got a katana into a ping pong. Ping pong's not bad, but missing the ping pong doesn't give you too much damage. Jack is freaking out about that block. Tenterment going to be finishing his whale core here just in a second. And Noobii ending his time right there. It should be time, just a moment. 24:07 for Noobii. All right. So Noobii will take the second win there. Tenterment not too far behind. So it was a great race between both runners. Noobii will be moving on, and then Tenterment will be going to the redemption bracket. So he still has a chance to come back because the redemption bracket is kind of like the loser bracket, but then you get to come through, and then you could actually be in the finals for it. So we do have one more match coming up later tonight. So make sure you guys stand by. It will be in. Oh, let me just make sure I got my schedule right and pull that up. So you can see here we have in at 5 p.m., which is in about 50 minutes or so, will be the next one. Oh, sorry, one sec. 5 p.m., which is in about 50 minutes or so, will be. There we go. So we will have it'll be Hopsital versus Vander, and that'll be in about 40 minutes or so. So be sure to stay tuned in for that.